So like if I hadn't have been in that point in 2017, I don't know where I'd be right now. Like the channel would be a lot bigger. Like things would have went well, I think, but I didn't because I couldn't physically leave my bed most days.
Let's move on. I wanted to talk about a stage in your content that you've spoken about. I think it was towards the end of 2017 or maybe 2018, where you spoke about it quite recently, where you're actually quite depressed by the sounds of it, and you wanted to give up doing the channel at multiple times. I'm curious to hear how you think you got into this negative cycle, or if you think it was just like a string of small self-destructive sort of choices, really.
I think in terms of like it starts definitely all stems from childhood. Like I had a really odd upbringing. Like there was things going on in my life which were just really odd. Like for example, like I played for Norwich when I was younger, from like the age of like 8 till 12, which is I think is a crucial age. But I didn't, before I got in at the age of 8, at the age of 7, I didn't get in because I was considered too fat or like too large or whatever the word was. I wasn't fit enough at the age of 7. And I was a goalkeeper. So I wasn't even fat. I was a bit chubby. So I think like over time, like one of my parents would always bang on to me about my weight and that I was fat and stuff like that. So then I got into my head. Like I remember I'd walk into school at the age of 8 and I'd like always be breathing in. So people would think I was slimmer than I was because I was so conscious of my weight. So then that spiraled. And by the age of 11, I was bulimic. And so like, but I didn't know I was really. It was weird because I wasn't like putting, when you think about bulimia, you think about people, but that's not how it works for me. Like if I just get really stressed, like suddenly I feel like this heavy weight on my chest, to then I can just naturally do it. So by the age of 11, I was bulimic and I had real big confidence issues in terms of like my body. Like I still can't really ever walk around without a shirt on. Like if a top fits too tight, I don't know if you've seen my videos, I always wear like a size up. Like sometimes I'll be wearing a shirt or an item of clothing, which is clearly too big for me, but that'll be because I've worn the size down, and it just feels like everything, if anything's too tight on me, then like I feel like everyone's looking at me and like they think I'm being really large, which when you say it out loud is really stupid. But anyway.
No, I know what you mean, because like football shirts are also quite a clingy material normally. So I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
So then like I got to the stage where like I'd been bulimic from between the age of 11 to about 20. Oh no, I forget how old I was in 2017. But basically it was really bad that year. Like 2017, I just got on my girlfriend, who I still hadn't told her at the start of the relationship that I was bulimic or had issues with my body and stuff like that. But also alongside this, at the age of 15, I don't know if I can say this, but at the age of 15, I became addicted to gambling. Like, and it was like, because I've skipped so many things there actually. Let me go back a bit. Like, so when I was in Norwich, I got into the academy because I'd lost a lot of weight by then. Like I remember, I think basically a year at the age of 7, I didn't really eat because I wanted to get into Norwich so badly. But then also at this same time, one of my family members was dealing with like, a family member that I'd see quite a lot was an alcoholic. So I remember you'd go around their house at the age of 8 and you'd be like this horrible sinking feeling going into your stomach, wondering whether they were going to be sober or she was going to be like with it. And you'd walk in and like basically 90% of the time you saw this person, they would be an alcoholic. And I think at that age, it's kind of just normal, but it's not until you think like the effects it has on you of seeing someone you love, like drink themselves to death in front of you is really painful. And I remember there was one time I went to train with Norwich, and I found that they'd hidden a bottle of gin in their cupboard to hide it from people. So I remember taking it and putting it in my tracksuit and going to train at Norwich with like the age of 8. I just had this bottle of gin with me to stop this family member drinking. I remember just throwing it in a bin there. Don't know how that never got found at Norwich's training ground, just a bottle of gin. But anyway, so then moving on, like at the age of 12, my parents divorced, and it was quite a messy divorce, like financially and everything. Like, so I then basically lost my mother, like she's still alive, but didn't speak to her, never really speak to her again. So like losing that, I think, is key at that age. Like I was 12, no longer spoke to my mother, like at all really. So like you then lose that nurture side of it. Like I really get on with my dad, but it was never like, it was always like football or life stuff. It was never like Kevin. I think I said to Jodie when I got with her for the first time, I was like I don't think I've been hugged since I was like 12. So when you lose that human connection and you lose that warmth of feeling what like stuff should be like, and like even to now, like I don't really have a perception of human emotion, to be honest. Like it sounds really horrible, but it's almost like not sociopathic, but you feel like you don't connect with people as much, because I just think I didn't have that when I was younger. Like everything was sort of a bit of a mess. So then I got to the age of like back into 2017, a lot of things had spiraled. Like I said, I became a gambling addict at 15. And that was obviously everything I knew. Like whenever I got money, I was like, let's put a bet on. Never with the intention of winning. I don't really think. It was like I'd win a lot of money at times, and also I'd lose it. So it was like whatever. I'm trying to think of where I'm going with this. So then I got to 2017, and then obviously the bulimia was bad. So like basically whatever I ate, like, and I didn't think I realized at the time, but when you bring up everything you eat, you then have no drive to do anything. Like, so like I had no energy. I couldn't do anything at all really. And it got to the point where like before this point, Away Days was like the vlogging channel. Like Fogden didn't do vlogs at that point. Like he started, like I was the first to really do it as a channel. So like it was going like that, and then all of a sudden it just stopped because I'd upload like maybe once every 4 weeks or something. So like if I hadn't have been in that point in 2017, I don't know where I'd be right now. Like the channel would be a lot bigger. Like things would have went well, I think, but I didn't because I couldn't physically leave my bed most days because of like just being stuck in this rot of negativity, and just, I don't know, it was a horrible position to be in. But then slowly but surely, like I stopped the gambling, like haven't put a bet on since like 2017, which is a big factor in terms of having the money to do things and then get out of the house more. Because it's a weird thing when you're like suffering with depression, but like you literally don't want to leave the house. Like leaving the house seems like a massive task. So like I think slowly but surely getting out of that phase was pretty massive for me. And now we're at this point where things are good, I think, better than they were anyway.
Great stuff. Wow. Okay. So a lot to sort of touch on there. Yeah, I completely agree what you mean. Like just leaving the house when you're in that state of mind, it feels like an absolute mission. And for me, that's when I have to really lower all of my expectations. So I throw everything else out the window, like all my goals or work that I was doing, because simply getting up and making a cup of tea, that can feel like an absolute mission. But when I lower those expectations, I'm able to sort of celebrate those little things. I don't know if that really makes sense. How,
I agree with you.
With the gambling thing, I think that's something that is such a controversial issue well, it's not really controversial. I mean, the fact that it's so embedded in the culture of football, especially in the UK, it saddens me really. I hate seeing like betting sponsors and stuff like that. It's quite scary, actually. How did you sort of get out of that? Was that a long process, or were you able to do it quite quickly?